With all the AI tech that's been coming out, there's been a lot of hype about, is SEO dead? Is it going away? Should we just stop investing in it altogether? Honestly, I'm not sure, but what I do know is that SEO and Google drives traffic to websites today. And personally, my philosophy is that things like ChatGPT and some of these AI models make knowledge ubiquitous. But at the end of the day, people still need products and services, and they're going to search for it. And the way that it works today is people find us on Google. Earlier this year, we had a problem with one of our sites where our traffic fell off a cliff. And so I set out to figure out, how do we fix this? What do we need to do to make it better? And how do we actually make SEO a core part of our strategy? So I wanted to share some of our results and what we were able to accomplish in the last couple of months. And I also wanted to share the framework of how I think about SEO optimization and the key areas to focus on if you're going to try to apply this to your business yourself. So here's a quick snapshot of recent performance as of September 2024. We actually kicked off this project sometime in July, and I would say we roughly doubled our organic traffic and organic keywords through some of the SEO optimization efforts that we applied. The key things to highlight here, I would say, are domain rank. This is sort of the holy grail of the KPIs that you're after when you're optimizing around SEO. And then obviously you're really driving for organic traffic. And you can see a significant uptrend in the snapshot report that we're looking at here. So let me talk a little bit about the SEO optimization framework as I see it. First and foremost, you got to know your keywords. You should have them memorized. If you're in business and you're running a website, you should know what people are searching for in your business and what's key for people finding you. You need to start by identifying, I would say, the top 10. And when I say top 10, I'm talking about core keywords, the 3 to 4 word phrases that people are searching your business for. And that's where you want to start. And you want to force rank them by search volume in your region as a starting point. From there, you really need to have a page and content strategy. And this hasn't changed in many years as I see it. The fundamentals still persist. And there's a couple core key areas you need to be thinking about. Obviously, you have all the metadata. So your meta description, URL slug, and alt image tags. All of those need to contain the keyword that you're targeting for that page. You can target multiple keywords for a given page, but starting out, I would say don't get crazy. Focus on one. If you can weave in some other ones, then great. Next to that, Google likes to see images. People like to see images. I think in visuals, and it's really helpful to have it on the page, especially if it complements the content that you're including. You have multiple images, great. They all need to have image alt tags. This is seen by Google as a critical thing in terms of the maintenance, the quality, and just fundamentally the data that's on the pages that you're presenting. Outside of that, you need to have a strategy in terms of where you're using the keywords that you're trying to optimize for. What we're really going for here is keyword density, and you need to have it in a couple key places. Number one being the H1 tag, which is your primary headline. Number two is going to be all of the text, and so you want a high density relative to other stuff on the page for that particular keyword. This is why I say focus on one keyword and don't muddy the waters too much. And then second to that, you need to have subheadlines, and all of the subheadlines, or a good chunk of the subheadlines, should also try to weave in that keyword to highlight that it's important for that page and what Google's trying to rank it for. Lastly, in terms of page content and structure is the schema, i.e. structured data. Google has an entire section of its site dedicated to structured data and how to take advantage of this. And really what this comes down to is rendering information about your page that you would not normally otherwise see in search results in search results. And so we'll talk a little bit how to do that and how to take advantage. The third piece is really just making sure that the page gets indexed. We often think that once we publish a page that it's automatically going to get indexed, and that's not always the case. And so as a part of the optimization strategy and a part of the framework, you really need to be paying attention to Google Search Console, and you need to monitor all the pages that you're expecting to have indexed, make sure they are getting indexed. And if there's issues, errors, or other problems preventing it from getting indexed, you need to manage it in Search Console to make sure all of those are resolved and you're getting the most out of your site and content as possible. And then fourth on this section is really just getting backlinks. This can be an organic strategy, whether you're doing podcasts or you're linking through social profiles, or you could even outsource some of the activity here. But the key thing here is they need to be quality backlinks. They need to be relevant. There's a lot of noise out there where people will charge to set up a bunch of trash backlinks that don't really add a ton of value. And if anything, I would say probably detract from your site. So best case, they're relevant And there are things that you're able to do through organic connections. Now, once this is done for the first page, you need to do this for all of your top keywords and the core pages for your site. And then from there, the fifth piece of this is just repeat, rinse and repeat. You do this as many times as humanly possible. I would say get to over 100 pages and you start to tap into what I would call the long tail keywords or geographically targeted keywords for whatever your business is. You're going to pick the cities that you're operating in. You're going to build out pages for all of those cities with those same keywords and really just try to extrapolate the footprint of your site as fast as possible. Now, there's a lot of debate out there about AI content and whether you should be using AI to write. I'll leave that up to you. My 2 cents here is honestly, some of these AI models write better than I can. And in the interest of scaling quickly and putting out valuable content that people can find to find your site, I like the approach of thinking in terms of AI-driven content, meaning you use it as a creative writer and an editor to ideate new ideas. You can leverage it as a starting point. And if you leverage things like ChatGPT's new tool with Canvas, you can actually expedite your writing process immensely, iterate on particular sections, weave in helpful other links and articles. And I think this is honestly a great way to put together and package content that people actually can use to answer the questions that they're looking to answer and also find you to ideally do business with you. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time on structured data. And I like talking about this because it's not something I feel most people talk about. And there's a lot of things you can take advantage of when it comes to search. And if you look at the example on the right here, you've all probably seen recipes show up with an image or a video and ratings and some information about it and stars. It's different than any other search result that you typically see. How does that happen? Well, it happens through configuring structured data and leveraging the requirements that Google sets out to accommodate these. Below here, I have an example of the code snippet that this actually looks like on the web page itself. But fundamentally, it's taking advantage of the elements of this that you want to apply to your website and ensuring that it's installed on your site as well. At the very bottom right here, I actually have an example. You can find this on the web yourself if you were to search this website. And you'll notice that at the bottom of the search result here, it actually highlights the star rating for Google reviews of the page. This does not happen naturally in search results for any given page. You have to achieve this through something called aggregate ratings, which you can do through structured data. Given that Google is such a big data company, I think the more data you send, the more information that you pass into Google, and the more investment you make into developing your site to accommodate these types of requirements makes the holistic picture of your site that much stronger. The last thing I'll touch on is the holy grail, which is domain rank. For anybody that cares about SEO, you want a high domain rank for your website. This means relative to everybody else in the space and other pages, Google sees a higher level of value and therefore gives a higher level of traffic to that page. I borrowed this scoring framework from some other information I found on the web, but basically anything under 10 is, maybe you rank locally, but it's not particularly strong. Once you start getting a domain rank into the 20s, that's pretty strong for local services or whatever local geography you're operating in. Once you start getting to 40, then you're actually getting into some material territory in terms of how well you're ranking in terms of other sites. And then really anything that's 70 and above is really elite. It's a really strong domain rank. And that's what everyone's really trying to strive for. Below here, I wanted to share some evidence of the changes that we made with using this same framework. We were sitting around a 9 domain rating earlier this year. And then as we invested in improving the overall optimization, keyword densities, and everything I just talked about, we've actually seen this rise to about a 27. Personally, my goal would be to get any site to about a 40, and anything north of that is just icing on the cake. Obviously, this is a long-term strategy, but the more you accomplish now and continue to invest in this and curate your site, I think the more traffic you can send to your business overall in the long run. At the end of the day, have a better business with more leads. Hopefully this overview was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.